that. Let's leave it alone. How do you feel about Bannon?
I think he's been smeared, to be perfectly candid. I read Breitbart every day, that it's okay to divide people by race. It isn't. That's what the American left does. Bannon is opposed. Good for him.
Except in what you just said. And by the way, look, the way you just said it is fine. People will agree, they'll disagree. But what Breitbart does, whether they're targeting me or they're targeting other people in the media, is they deceive, they distort context, and they do it to advance an agenda that the media is against you, and that everything is the left, and that the system is the left, and that this is about a race war and about white America being put down. And now you have that guy in the White House speaking for all Americans. Is that good?
Chris, I mean, I just disagree totally with your picture of Steve Bannon.
If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. The lie can be maintained only for such time as the state can shield the people from the political, economic and/or military consequences of the lie. It thus becomes vitally important for the state to use all of its powers to repress dissent, for the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie, and thus by extension, the truth is the greatest enemy of the state. Hitler's propaganda chief, Joseph Goebbels,
absolutely ate up what you showed. I mean, you could hear a pin drop. It was amazing to watch it go on.
You know, Andrew Breitbart really understood, because he and I are very, very close friends. We actually share a house in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill with Larry Soloff, who's now the CEO of the company. We compiled this, but we haven't done the jump cuts on my films are known for. We haven't done all the intensity. So what people saw today was what is a compilation. If they think they liked it now, when they see, and this is only Act 1, it'll be much more intense later. What we really have here is a war film. This is a war film, and that's why Andrew's voice in it, Andrew's life force in it, you can see throughout the entire first act, he's just kind of driving the narrative.
And bosses, Stephen K. Bannon. Good morning, sir.
You know, just thank all the callers, all the listeners to the show, and all the people who go to Breitbart. You know, you're, I think you can say your voice was heard last night.
And I was joking earlier, but it's not really a joke. I was hoping at least one person on CNN or Fox News would have just said, listen, I've been wrong every time I've opened my mouth for the last 18 months, and I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm going to leave because I'm not going to burden with the American people with the BS that I'm trying to sell them. But of course, that's not going to happen. You see the same faces giving the same incorrect opinions.
They think it is beneath them to listen to the callers that call into a show like that.
Well, because they thought the aristocrats and the oligarchs throughout the world could control the strings like puppeteers with a marionette. And the people spoke yesterday and said that that's not the case, at least in the United States. Steve.
So if you listen, by the way, if you listen to Breitbart News Daily and you read the pages of Breitbart, you know, you're not surprised this morning.
No.
If you read the New York Times and the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times of London. I think for the audiences that I think, because I know they refer to you to all the audience members as stupid and don't know what's going on, and you know, or
Klansmen, Steve. We're all Klansmen.
Yeah, all these names they throw at you. It's the same thing as Brexit. That they didn't really understand Brexit. They didn't understand what the underlying desire for people to have control of their own lives that Brexit represented. I think you saw the same thing last night, and I just, you know, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to see the media meltdown because we're too really hunkered into.
Yeah, well, it's the same old. They're trying to declare it sexist and racist, and even though Donald Trump has outperformed Mitt Romney with Hispanics and with blacks, it's not inconvenient truths. I wonder which mainstream outlets will report on those. I'm hopeful they all will, because they should, Steve. So I want to ask what's about the next steps. It looks very well likely that you guys could pick up Michigan, which would put Donald Trump well above 300 electoral votes. He's leading there with 97 some odd percent reporting. So if he's going to have 300 something electoral votes. Republicans did very well in the Senate. They of course kept the House as predicted. He's going to be able to govern here, and this isn't just he's just not going to slide in by the skin of his teeth. He's going to actually have a pretty solid coalition. So what is the transition plan now for the next couple months?
Well, if I did that, that would be an interview, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be just a couple old buddies catching up.
No. He caught me. He caught me.
McGarrett's.
Oh.
I know she's sitting there going, hey, enough with the happy talk. Let's break some news.
Yeah, that's it. She busts my chops a lot. That's how the show stays sharp.
Well,
All right. You can plead the fifth on that in the spirit of the Barack Obama administration, if you'd like.
No, I'm sure that'll all be coming out over the next, days and weeks ahead. So,
well, people are really excited to hear from you, Steve, and I know you got a lot on your mind and on your plate right now.
It is not Alex Marlowe. It's not Steve Bannon. It's not the great Caroline McGarrett's or Angela Barrett or any of the people that put the show on day in and day out. But it's really the listener. So I think as you go to work this morning, this victory is your victory, and I think obviously you got to hold the people accountable for results that laid this plan out for you. But it's a great the people that are already taking the victory lap this morning are the listeners of the show, and people that don't listen to the show but are kindred spirits, because it was a great I think victory for, as Mr. Trump said in his speech last night, the forgotten men and women in this country that have really been the backbone of this country.
Yeah, and we played this speech almost in its entirety in the first hour, and it's a very important speech because he did strike that really perfect message of making it about the movement, about the American people, the ordinary Americans who'd been forgotten by the globalist plutocrats and the oligarchs. And this is something that so long as we have freedom of speech, so long as we have freedom of information, and so long as people do as I recommend and tell 10 friends and family members about Breitbart.com, I think we got a fighting chance that he might be able to gain some ground back in Washington D.C. when he shows up in 2 months. But Steve Bannon, any final comments here for the listeners of Breitbart News Daily?
No, I'm gonna get up and get rolling, and I'll check in with you shortly. And I want to thank Caroline for reaching out to me last night and making sure I made the show this morning. So it's a great honor always to talk to this audience. So. And the great people at Sirius XM and the Patriot Channel. So,
Steve, I think you'll indulge me when I say it's not happy talk when I say that we all made history together, this audience plus you and the Trump campaign. Pretty remarkable what's happening.
Propaganda is as powerful as heroin. It surreptitiously dissolves all capacity to think. Gilcourt Munch.